What's up, people? Welcome to The Shift on YouTube.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. If you like The Shift on YouTube here, where we do, shorter content, short videos, where we kind of go in depth to some of these topics. But if you like podcasts, if you like podcasts just in general, go subscribe to The Shift on Apple, on Spotify. I will have that in the description box below, so you can go listen to The Shift in podcast form, because we don't like to just make videos here. We also, like to do podcasts. So go make sure that you do that. Go make sure that you subscribe. Again, I'll have that in the description box below, because one of those topics I just did last week kind of coincides with the topic I'm about to talk about right now, which is Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays. He gets traded from Oakland to Toronto, and obviously, everyone's getting traded from Oakland right now. Olsen, Chapman, Sean Manaea literally just went from the Padres from the Athletics to the Padres in the same day, and the Athletics just happened to be playing the Padres, and there he is pitching against his old team. So everyone from the Athletics has been moved. Matt Chapman goes from Oakland to Toronto in a trade and immediately signs a 2-year, $25 million extension. And that lineup, let me tell you, this Toronto lineup is absolutely stacked. And we're going to get to that in a second. But remember Josh Donaldson? Similar situation, right? And to a certain extent. Josh Donaldson goes from Oakland to Toronto in a trade, and he instant impact. He wins MVP in 2015. The Blue Jays make it to back-to-back American League Championship Series in 2016 and 2017. Josh Donaldson was a huge difference maker. And he was in stack lineups with Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. And you kind of have a similar situation here with Matt Chapman, right? From the Athletics to the Toronto Blue Jays. A situation where the Blue Jays are trying to get over the hump, and Matt Chapman is looking to be, a difference maker for Toronto and trying to, excel in the AL East and not just win 90 games and miss the playoffs, but they expanded the playoffs this year too. So it's going to be, it might be a little easier for teams to get in the playoffs now. So the Blue Jays, if they don't, win the AL East, they can win the wild card. But regardless, Josh Donaldson from Oakland to Toronto, difference maker, big impact. Because it's kind of a similar situation, right? Similar situation. Matt Chapman, is he a difference maker now? Is it this? Just comparing these two, because two third basemen from Oakland to Toronto, is he a difference maker? And to me, yes, super big difference maker because of the lineup that Chapman is hitting in. Look at the lineup that Donaldson hit in, right? With Bautista and Encarnacion. Now for Chapman, it's Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette, hopefully Kevin Biggio can bounce back, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Teoscar Hernandez, who's an all-star, super big-time player who's not talked about enough, in my opinion. Not talked about enough, where he hits bombs, gets on base, steals bases, can do pretty much everything. Not talked about enough in a lineup, obviously, where you have a young superstar in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So this lineup that Chapman's going to hit in is going to be insane, and there's no way that he's not going to have the same impact that Josh Donaldson had. And the Blue Jays this year are slated to make a run, not just win the AL East, but probably compete for a World Series. I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, but this year they're going to compete, not just the AL East, but for a World Series. And I think that Matt Chapman is going to help them do that. He's going to help them do that. You got him, you got Kevin Gausman in the offseason. There's a couple of names that are, evading my mind, but you get the picture. The Blue Jays are trying to really go for it this year. And Chapman, compared to Josh Donaldson in a similar situation, I think it makes sense that Matt Chapman can have the same exact impact that Josh Donaldson had. And not just the bat too. Like, Well, that's the thing I kind of want to talk about here as well is, look, first off, Chapman, better defender than Donaldson. And Donaldson was a really good defender in his prime. I mean, I'm acting like Josh Donaldson retired, like he's still playing. But Matt Chapman, one of the best defenders in baseball. And I know defense, at least in my mind, isn't the biggest deal. It's not like the biggest influence on winning baseball games. Like, average defense isn't going to above average defense isn't going to catapult you as a difference maker. Like, it can be a tiny difference maker, but it's not going to be a ginormous difference maker. So, but looking at Chapman, better defender. And the thing is, I know people are going to say, well, the last 2 seasons, his bat hasn't been the same as it was, years prior. And yes, that is true. But look at the lineup he's hitting in. Look at the lineup. He's hitting in a very, very, very stacked lineup. And last year he hit 210. On base was like around, I think, 314. Still hit 27 home runs, but OPS plus 100. And the year before it was even, wasn't very good offensively. Yeah, the power numbers are there, but the numbers aren't enough to absolutely say that, oh, well, his bat, it just doesn't matter about everything else. No, his bat needs to come back, but I think it will, because look at the lineup he's hitting in. I mean, you got, like I said, Vladdy, Lourdes Gurriel, Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez. Hopefully Kevin Biggio can be the player that a lot of fans, Toronto fans, think he can be, baseball fans in general. So that's going to make it even easier for Chapman to come back and be his old self, like he was in 2018 and 2019, where he finished like top 10 in MVP voting. Like he's going to be able to be his old self, I think, now. And Chapman hit in a lineup where it was Matt Olson and, Mark Canha. Mark Canha is a good hitter, but I mean, Olson was your only other like good hitter. And I know that like they still had like a top 10 offense in baseball, but Chapman's going to an offense that's top 3 in baseball in runs scored from last year. We all know how stacked this offense is. So, Josh Donaldson went from, he was the player he was in Oakland to, a lineup in Toronto, which was a good offense, but wasn't as good as this offense is here in Toronto. I think Chapman, if Chapman can bounce back, you kind of look at it like the Marcus Semien thing, right? Like Marcus Semien went from Oakland, had an MVP season. Season after that, he wasn't what he was the season before. Went to Toronto, stack lineup. Marcus Semien was one of the best hitters in baseball last year. And I think it can be the same thing for Matt Chapman this season to even compare it to another player. It's not just Josh Donaldson. You can compare it to Marcus Semien, where you say, oh, look at that comparison. Look at that. Semien went from Oakland to Toronto and was his old self. Chapman can do the same thing. We all know it's there. Look at Chapman's 2019 season. I think 36 home runs, finished top 10 in MVP voting. I think he did his power numbers weren't like they were in from 2019 and 2018, but still one of the better players in baseball. And Chapman, if anyone's gonna do it right now in Toronto, it's gonna be Matt Chapman to come back from Oakland and go to Toronto and do what Marcus Semien did. And I almost made 2 comparisons in one video. I didn't even just go from Donaldson to Chapman. I'm going from Semien to Chapman. That could have been a whole separate video too. It could have been. But let me know, because I think that Chapman, is going to rake in this lineup. And just making that Donaldson comparison, I think it's kind of fun, just because, third baseman from Oakland, went to Toronto, third baseman from Oakland, Toronto, and Matt Chapman. So let me know what you think. What do you think Matt Chapman is going to be for the Toronto Blue Jays coming from Oakland? Oakland's unloading everybody. We've seen it. Oakland's literally unloading everybody. And not surprising, because they do this like every 3 years anyway, because they don't want to spend. I mean, literally their salary, their combined salary is lower than Francisco Lindor's salary for this year. Shout out to the Size Up on Instagram. I saw them post that. So, yeah, Oakland just being Oakland, and Toronto might be one of the best teams in baseball this year, and they're going to compete for a World Series, not just the AL East. I know they didn't even make the playoffs last year, but expanding the playoffs this year, and I still think they're the best team in the American League East. So something to look forward to if you're a Toronto fan and a baseball fan, because that team is fun. So let me know in the comments Let me know on Twitter at Rojas_media_. Let me know on there. Let me know on Instagram as well. I keep forgetting the freaking handle because I need to change it because I couldn't find a good handle. It's like the shift_pod. It's not that. That's not exciting. Like, we need something better than that. So make sure that you go, subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. We'll have it in the description box. Make sure you subscribe on here. Like, comment, unlike if you don't like it, if you don't like the video, if you hated the take, if you hated whatever. But or you could maybe not like the video and give me some feedback because I can always use the feedback even if you don't like it. So let me know. That was this video, and I'll see you guys next time.